Right, so let's talk about the two P's, pricing and product. And what I want to do is try to share with you some tips, insights, some strategies that you can implement, execute pretty easily, stuff that allowed me to go from struggling, burnt out, exhausted man with a van tour business owner to the owner of a multi-seven-figure company. And pricing and product are two things that I could certainly offer you some sort of guidance and advice on. So when it comes to pricing, one of the things that I see most regularly, and I've got hundreds and hundreds of tour business owners in my inner circle, I've got thousands and thousands in my greater community. And one thing people get wrong almost always is pricing. They screw it up, completely balls it up, and it can ruin their business. So one thing that most do is when they start out or when they launch new products and ideas, they got no freaking idea how to price it. So they just take a look around, the guy down the road there, the guy up the road there, and they sort of just jump somewhere in the middle there, and they set a price based on what the marketplace is charging or what people tell them or think that they should be charging, or hunches and anecdotal feedback, which is absolutely wrong. Never, ever, ever, ever allow the marketplace to dictate your pricing. You don't know what's happening down the road, or you don't know what's happening up the road. You don't know if that guy down the road is just running his business into the ground. You don't know if he owns his vehicles. You know if he's renting office space. You have no idea what his fixed costs are. So you're following someone that might be just like killing their business, and you have no idea. Likewise, the guy up the road, you have no idea what goes into the profitability or lack of his business. So you're just sort of following blindly. So what you should always be doing is building your pricing on a simple mathematical equation. So first of all, figuring out what your cost of sale is, what those specific line by line expenses are that go into the running of your tour, the on-tour expenses. And then simply just choosing a gross profit margin. So I would always like to play around with a few of those. So you take a look at what those numbers look like when you attach a 25% gross profit margin, a 35% gross profit margin. For me in my business, I always, with everything I did, went with a 45% gross profit margin after calculating my cost of sale. Okay, that's just the way I did things, always with a 45% gross profit margin, which made my tours expensive. That's fine, I'll get to that in a second. But it made it really exciting for me when I was actually taking bookings for my private tours. Once we've done that, we are then calculating an additional margin for commissions. So I would always attach a 25% or mark up 25% so that it allowed me to work with anyone. Any reseller on the planet I could find a level of commission for them. We can get into it in another video, how you actually present or offer your commission range to particular types of resellers. You don't offer 25% to everyone, but it was a simple mathematical equation. What everyone else was doing was irrelevant. You calculated your tour costs, your cost of sale. You got a feel personally for you and for your business what it would look like if you attached a 25% or a 35% or a 45% gross profit margin to that. How profitable did it make that tour? I would then extrapolate that out. Well, let's assume that I'm going to run 15 private tours per week. That's what my end gross profit is going to look like. Okay, which so everyone's gross profit margin will differ. Some will have a look at what their business looks like with a 25% gross profit margin attached, with the assumption that they're going to run 10 tours per week. Or if they're running scheduled tours where capacity is going to be at 60%, if they attach a 35% gross profit margin, they can get a very clear sense on the profitability of their business. Okay, remembering we are not interested in what other people are doing. Okay, and then from that point, you need to build in a commission level. I recommend 25%. So that's what your final number is going to look like. Okay, you're going to have a retail rate, which is less that commission level. You're going to have a net rate, which is with that commission level built in. And my goal was to run wildly profitable tours when I had built in a 25% commission. So if I was working with a reseller, an inbound tour operator that I was giving a 25% commission to, that end net after commission had to look really, really exciting. And that is the way I grew my business. It meant that I got a lot of pushback and resistance through some channels, but I knew that every time I sent out a guide and a vehicle, that my tours were going to be crazy, crazy profitable. And for me, there's no other way. What the hell are you doing it for if you're not running profitable tours? Okay, so for anyone who is running tours that aren't profitable, telling themselves, oh, it's great for branding, or it's okay if I'm running the tour, but if I'm getting screwed if I'm sending out a tour guide and I've got to bring another vehicle, which is going to make my tours, loss making, you're insane. Your tours, assuming that you've got to send out and pay a tour guide, you've got to bring in a 20-seat vehicle from somewhere else because your other vehicles are booked out, that tour still needs to be really, really profitable. And if your rates don't allow for that, then you're not running your business right, okay? Moving on to product. Now, I'm just going to leave you with some food for thought here. When I started my business back in 2017, I ran like a range of private tours, nice premium viewing options, meals in the best restaurants, blah, blah, blah. No significant point of difference. I'm going to use one tour as a case in point. I had a Great Ocean Road private driving tour. It was for a group of two. The retail rate was about $1,000 and the net rate was about $750. Private tour for two people. And I sold a lot of it. But after about 3 years, I decided, I got some good advice from various sources, but I decided that I was going to take a range of tours to market that were wildly up-leveled. Access to the inaccessible, exclusive experiences, money can't buy experiences, not seen or done anywhere else in my region. And so I created what I call my collection of unforgettable journeys. Okay, and it legitimately faces and meeting faces behind the places, access to the inaccessible, private ballrooms that others don't get the opportunity, private helicopter charters, a whole range of stuff. And I designed a range of 12 tours with insane, crazy increases. Some of my tours increased in price over that 12 months by like 30, 35%. So one tour as a case in point, my $1,000 Great Ocean Road tour became a $5,000 retail for two people, ultimate Great Ocean Road. Landing on a private hilltop with a local farmer who had a freshly cooked lunch of local produce from the farm. Things like that the money couldn't buy. When I created that range of tours, I did not even think about price at all. Irrelevant. I was going to build the experience, then I was going to price it using my responsible, methodical pricing calculator and structure. Calculate the cost of sale, building my gross profit margin, building my commission level. Boom, that is the price. Doesn't matter what anyone else is charging. So when I launched that tour, that range of tours, but that tour in particular, over the first 6 months, I outsold to my key agents that tour compared with my original Great Ocean Road $1,000 private driving tour 3-to-1. So I sold 3 times more of a $5,000 tour. This is 10 years ago, mind you, as well. Imagine what inflation has done to these prices. 3 times more of a $5,000 tour than a $1,000 tour. So you can only imagine what that did to my business. I think it was 277,000 the previous year in total revenue. That year I did 1.2 million in sales. Okay, so I up-leveled my experiences. I commanded more. My pricing went through the roof, and my goal became how to convey the value of my new experiences. And what I found is that people couldn't stop talking about me. Media wanted to get me inserted in their publications. Tourism associations wanted to talk about me and have conversations with me about international agents. They wanted to get me involved in famils, and it was a win-win-win-win-win across the board. It became a beautiful marketing tool. Those particular tours, that particular tour, even people would find it, oh my God, it's like, wow. Did they book it? No, they might have gone for the more entry-level experience because that was what their budget afforded. But as a marketing tool, it was absolute gold. So a few tips, a few strategies, pricing and product related that allowed me to take a $250,000 business in 12 months to a 7-figure business that I then used as a platform to grow a multi-7-figure company over the next couple of years. So Hope there's a little bit in there for you. If you want to explore ways that we can work together, there's a link below with a short video talking about what I do, how I do it, and how you can reach out to me. Okay, so jump on the link below, check it out. It's like a 7-8 minute video, and I hope we can have a conversation.